All right, so we have read some short stories from the books to some 40 Tales from the Afterlife. Maybe we can start with one of them. Like, did you start reading in order, or did you pick the stories from the title names?
I started reading in order.
Me too.
Same.
Okay. So then it makes it easier for discussion. Anything that stood out, anything that hit, um, we can anything that you want to start off the discussion with.
Okay, I have a point. So in the first story, it says we will have like 14 minutes of absolute happiness. So the story is like everything we do like right now, it's like piled up into categories. So anything we do, like reading book, uh, wha- uh everything happens like one by one thing is like brushing. Every day we brush, right? So that will happen for years all together. Every day the brushing of that 5 minutes will be compiled into like so many 5 minutes throughout our life. So that is the first event we'll be doing, then the second, then the third. So each event piles up, and we'll be leaving one category of activity for certain amount of years or months or like days. So that's how they're telling. So I'll read a line. 1 second. Yeah, I'll just start it so that you guys will get there. You spend 2 months driving the street in front of your house. You sleep for 30 years without opening your eyes. You opening your eyes for 5 months straight. You flip through magazines while sitting on a toilet. You take all your pain at once, all 27 intense hours of it. So yeah, so everything happens like one by one, all activity at once. So that is how it is. And then I've been reading all the things, and then it is like only 14 minutes of pure joy. Everything is in like hours, years, months, weeks. So everything is like that, and it's like 14 minutes of pure joy. I just got froze there. So yeah, I mean, like maybe that's true. It's like that aha moment will be like feeling that very rarely. That's actually thought provoking.
I actually got stuck at the reading part. It says 1 year for reading, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to coach कि कम है ये ज़्यादा है. I was thinking like it seems calm because if I'm considering a 60 years life on average and just 1 year of reading seems quite small. So yeah, I would love to read more. Like if this exercise is done with my life, I would want the reading section to be a lot more.
Cool. Ayush, what did you find interesting in that story?
I Initially, I was also just doubting the numbers. I'm like, I don't think those numbers are true because if you add all of them up, it kind of looks like I've lived a very long life. Apart from other thing, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. I just didn't understand the final conclusion of it, but I think it was pretty interesting. Like how I look at it is that you can tie basically every event to how much you're going to be doing it for the next period of time. Like I think Wait But Why had a similar article on this, which is uh, you basically live your life in terms of how many weeks you have left, how many summers you have left, how many weekends you have left. So I think that is another way to look at it, and this is another way to look at that. This particular, uh, you know, uh, you you're spending this much time doing this much work, doing that much work. So I think it's pretty fascinating in that way.
Yeah, I think the ending, as per what I understood, was that for a short duration, you would be contemplating what if life, how would my life be if you change the order of events, and that thought remains the same in our current life as well as in the afterlife. if the new system of collecting all events of one type together would be. So you're still sort of looking for that variety, which is even now you're looking for, okay, I think any particular emotion or any particular type of experience you have, it has a diminishing return after a point, and we need variety in life to be able to appreciate the different activities. That is how I interpreted it.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe we can go to the next one. Um, anyone wants to start off if anything stood out there, or we can go to the third one. I think second one. Let me just quickly go back. What was it? I think second one is like everyone gets to heaven.
Yeah. I didn't understand the conclusion though.
Yeah. Does anyone want to take a shot at it?
Yeah, so
Are we talking about circle of friends?
No, it's the second one.
Okay.
उसके
Yeah,
बाद-
yeah, so everyone goes to heaven, right? So that decision is taken, but then the last paragraph is like, so God sits on the edge of her bed and weeps at night because the only thing everyone can agree upon is that they are all in hell.
So I think the basic premise of this is that uh, a lot of people think that it's very binary, that humans are either good or evil, but in most cases they are good in a lot of places and they might be evil in other places. But because we have all been taught that either you can be good or you can be evil, all of us automatically assume that they're all going to hell. So I think that's just the aim, where basically life is not binary, it's more gray. It's not black and white. Right? I'm assuming that's the uh, pretext.
That was clear. That was clear. That people definitely have both of them in every person. It's just the difference of the ratios to the good people and the bad people. Why they are called like complete bad is like maybe the ratio of bad is higher than the ratio of good in them. That's it. But the thing is like one thing I thought is like they are there. Everyone are like equal there, and they don't have something to like achieve on, because it's like it's the same for everyone, right? So even if they do good, they don't see the sense of that doing good anymore. Maybe they that is a feeling they got into, and even if they do bad, they can't be maybe going like downgrade from that, or even if they do, they don't see a point. Even if they are doing that, they don't see a punishment, maybe they will be like doing it more. So
Mhm.
I don't see that they have that extremes anymore. They don't have to think about it even now, because they are all there already in like heaven they call it, and there is like no rules, because it's like equal for everything and for everyone. Whatever they do, they are going to be like taken care of kind of stuff. That's the reason they don't see any point of doing any of the stuff. So if they are stuck at that point, I think that will feel as hell. I got into that conclusion, so I am still confused. That's the
I
reason.
think I that was a very interesting perspective because I looked at it in the way कि humans अगर heaven में भी चले जाए, still they will find a way to complain. Still they would find issues with that thing. So that's sort of, let's say, the conclusion I came up to. And the second thing I liked in this story was it calls God a she and not a
I
he.
know, right? I read that
It
twice in
felt
the
so
past.
good.
Yeah. No, I was actually confused. Like it's he after like
Yeah,
I think it's God, like he they
like
talk,
it's
right?
always been he
Yeah. So
and
I
it's
was
a
like,
she finally.
Yeah, I'm like, did I miss any context here? Is there supposed to be a story before that that defines the she here?
Yeah,
I'm like, I read it twice and maybe they like decided to keep it she. That's fine
that
then. Yeah, it took me a minute as well. Okay, to make sure that okay they actually named her a
is
her.
she? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's two things. The conclusion is like interesting. That paragraph alone took felt like a different story from the before all the story. They're like keeping all of them in like heaven, and then it became like hell because that they are like too much of equality there that they have like no motivation to be good or like you know no motivation to even do more bad even if they are like two bad people. So yeah, that was like interesting to me.
I interpret that as instead of motivation to do bad or good, I see that there's no motivation to do anything. uh,
Exactly.
because the couple of examples that this share, that communists are baffled and irritated because they have finally achieved their perfect society, but only with the help of a god which they don't want to believe. So it sort of directly contradicts with their core beliefs. Then meritocrats are abashed that they are stuck for eternity in an incentiveless system with a bunch of finkos. Conservatives have no penny less to disparage. The liberals have no downtrodden to promote. So I think like it's like everyone has lost their identity, what they stood for, because um, whatever their core life beliefs or systems were there, ki, hey, we are doing this for them, and now wo ho gaya achieve, and now it's like okay, what next? And then uh, everyone starts feeling that there's nothing to do, and that sort of feels like hell to them, maybe some sort of helplessness or whatever. And then like the god weeps and says, okay, ye kya ho gaya, this is like a different thing than what I intended. Cool.
True.
We'll move maybe to the next one. I think this is like a pretty interesting one. Like I think I've read all the 40, and this is like one of the top ones for me. Anyone wants to start off? Have you
I
read?
think, yeah, Circle of Friends, right?
Yeah.
I think this was like achanak se, like it hits you in the face. Like, okay, I never realized this, but it's so true. So, yeah, that was it for me. Like, I should have observed this sometime, but I did not.
Yeah. It sort of just tells you that we need the unfamiliarity in our environment. We need some background में something or the other happening, because if we know everyone, then it feels like a very weird world to be in. Yeah. Ayush, how was this for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I just felt like there's multiple ways to look at it, right? Like one is how like you meet so many people on a daily basis that you don't really recall, and ultimately there's only a circle of people that will be stayed for you. I mean, that will stay with you till the end. That could be one way to look at it. Another way is like there's people that you had a glance with, but you didn't really keep in touch, so you now forget them, and now you feel lonely because you didn't really put an effort to keep in touch, and now you're just roaming around because you don't know what to do. I think pretty interesting in that way. Like this, I just felt like there's multiple lessons that could come out of it. But yeah, it was fascinating to suddenly see that. I think that's for sure.
Cool. Saiti, how was it for you?
Yeah, I haven't completed that earlier. I just read the remaining part.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I haven't like thought about it till now since I just completed this, but it's again like thought provoking. Like people, even though like we know them, and there is like always that unfamiliarity, and that we don't feel it now, and I feel like it's not the matter even, like completely matter kind of stuff. That's what I'm getting into the conclusion. Maybe I need to like think it through again, but yeah, it's nice. It I need to still think about it though. It's like again two parts, splitting into two parts. I don't know which direction is it's like strongly defining to. I need to read it again, the conclusion part. But the three stories are like very thought provoking. I really loved it.
Yeah, I think like the more time you spend with each of the stories, it will sort of, grow on you and give
Yeah.
you more and more perspectives.
Yeah, I took time for the both of the previous stories, so I could have like proper thinking. I paused a bit, and I thought about like which direction I'm going into with the conclusion. But now I didn't think this out through. But yet this is like another interesting idea to think on. That's like really great. And it's thrilling like how short they are, and yet how thought provoking they are. It's like, oh yeah, every line is like, oh yeah.
Um,
I love it. I think I'll complete them, all of them, by this weekend. They're so short, and like each of them are like so relatable as well, that we can get into them like fast.
Yeah, like it's short, so it gives you that dopamine hit of completing the story, and then at the same time, it's so like there's such a high value addition of each of the story that even on the learning side of things, there's a big dopamine hit.
Yeah, they're cool.
Ayush, you were saying something.
yeah, I was saying like when I first kind of like started reading this, I didn't really understand like what is it like, afterlife. What is it talking about? What happens in afterlife? Is it what something? But I think like after reading some two or three stories is what it was then able to understand. Okay, they're trying to draw a parallel between creating like a you know creating like an alter life kind of a thing, that and then drawing parallels to what you could have done or what you can do from your current distance. So I think yeah, it's fascinating in that sense. Heavy for sure, but yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the entire premise is, so when you die, this is a possibility that it could happen, and these are like 40 alternates that could happen, and like yeah, just building up on something someone said, that it's a very dense thing. I think this is a hallmark of great writing, which is there's no fluff at all. Uh, it hits you. It's relatable. Yeah, I really loved it when I read it last year. This is like whoever wants to get into reading, I just share them this link. I'm like, अभी क्या भी पढ़ो 10 minute, and then
But
you
don't you think for someone who's starting out, it's a little heavy because there's multiple conclusions to be drawn and like kind of open ended.
I feel that is one of the reasons why I would recommend this to someone starting out, because, like I think Ankita mentioned, right? It gives you a dopamine hit, and whenever you're building a new habit, that is how you do it. Like if you read like a very boring non-fiction self-help book, or even if you pick up a fiction where nothing is happening for the first 20 pages, you'll just say either one of two things. Either you'll say that, hey, I don't enjoy reading, which is like a very weird conclusion. Or the other thing is, it is not for me. So something or the other, you'll make a conclusion out of that. And I think getting that initial barrier is very important, which I believe like this book checks a lot of those requirements to start
Mhm.
building a habit. If it's open ended, it also allows for an open conversation with someone, and like just taking this example, right? You can give this to someone. You can say, just read 2 pages, then let's discuss. And I think that also gives a sneak peek of how you can connect with someone based on shared books. This is the last time you folks connected on the mom test, right? So that was pretty cool thing. Yeah.
Anyone read further to the fourth story?
I think I read till the fifth or sixth story.
Awesome.
Okay.
How about they?
I like this descent of species kind of a thing.
Okay.
Which
Quickly.
yeah, it just basically talks about that you're here now. You have had a tough life as a whatever you had, and now you have an option of what you want to be in your next life, right? And they just like talk about you could decide to become a human, or you could just take it simple and become a horse. Right? So, and just like I think they just want to split. So of how I look at it is, for example, I think I don't know if it's I think in the Hindu scriptures and all, it's written multiple times that you rarely get a chance to become a human, right? You mostly get born as some sort of, either speak
Lower creature.
lower creature or something like that, something of that sort, right? And you only get human life so often, and you should try and make most of it by serving others, XYZ. I think this had a very interesting is, okay, now that you've become a human, do you really want to become human in the next life? And I think that's pretty fascinating, where this talk about like how you have now become a horse. Now you don't care for the other stuff. You don't have like, you know, uh, caring about, saving the world. All you have to do is just you eat the grass, just, go on about your day and everything. So there's some sort of beauty in that. Like, it's a different way to look at stuff where it's not like the other species or creatures are like, no, I think it's kind of simple for them. So I think, yeah, it's fascinating in that way.
Nice.
Definitely. I'm still trying to form an answer to that question, but maybe it will need more time than we have right now. Okay, I think we're at the end of today's session. We have another session at 12, optional for you if you want to attend. We are sort of designing a reader profile. And that is something we are thinking of, like rolling it out to all the people in this cohort. So you get a nice reader profile with all your book excerpts at a URL of sorts. So we're just sort of designing it live at 12. If you want to join that, I'll just share the link as well. You can join it here. And yeah, that is about it. Any final thoughts, anything you want to share, talk about before we wrap this up?
If I have to give one suggestion, I don't know. I think a lot of us are falling a little behind in our reading activities. So I think it would be great if, there was kind of like a follow-up. I'm not sure. Just kind of like a soft nudge kind of a thing. I know it's supposed to be like self, but I don't know. It just kind of puts the other person also into something that it kind of gives that nudge. I'm not sure how much leaderboard helps when you put it at very end of the day, but I think if throughout the day, if there was like a soft nudge kind of a thing, but hey, what are you reading today? Where are you in your reading thing? Or did you get time to read today? I think it just kind of reinforces the thought, and people might get back to it again.
Makes sense. I think it has also to do
More
with
like a daily nudge, right?
Daily nudge, and it does not have to be like it does not have to be like a structured or like very like this thing. It could be like very organic, and once you start doing it, I think other people will also start doing it. Like, hey, did you read today? What did you read today? What did you like about what you read today? I don't know, it's just a thought.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think we're working on accountability bit. That is something definitely. The whole profile thing also came as that only. If you have something like a place to showcase what you're reading, maybe it will incentivize more
Correct,
people.
yeah. I think that and all is good, but sometimes everyone just needs a little nudge,
Mm.
to just keep going. I think that would probably be great.
Agreed. Agreed. So I think as of now we have we had like for this squad we had like two separate uh, tiers wherein we were experimenting with accountability in the other one. In I think over this weekend we'll think of how we can add more accountability to everyone. That is something. The only caveat there, it needs to work at scale,
Correct.
because
Yeah.
for 5 people, 10 people, it is okay for us as a team to even ping like manually, but it's need to scale in some sense, since like we are 30 people, and then let's see how that next cohort goes. But yeah, I think feedback definitely noted. Accountability is all. I think every one of us who have joined this cohort, we know that we need accountability. That is the core thing that you joined for.
Yeah.
So definitely allow us some time to work on this. We'll definitely work on it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool,
Uh,
folks. Yeah. Anything else?
no, nothing.
Cool. All right. I'll just end this call now because I have to jump to the next one.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. For sure.
See
Sure.
you next time.
See you
Bye.
guys. Bye. Thank you.